You can't have censorship. You can't pick one person and say, well, we don't like what he's been saying, he's out.
It's very interesting, isn't it? It's almost like he wants somebody to stop talking about him. He pays them $130,000, but he wanted me to do it for nothing. I wonder what it was specifically help with that. And as for Trump, you know, if you want to come on the show to tell me to be quiet yourself, we still have that arcade claw machine the My Pillow guy got in. Maybe it was one of the nicknames I was going through, like Tanny Soprano, Nostradamus. It's almost like he's a hypocrite, you know?
Imagine being so thin-skinned that a 30-second joke about your fast food habits sends you into a 45-minute rant at a political rally. That's exactly what happened when Jimmy Kimmel made a tiny joke about Trump's diet, and the former president completely lost his mind. While Trump's supporters sat confused, waiting to hear about policies, they instead got to witness a grown man call a late-night comedian unfunny garbage for almost an hour. The best part, Kimmel's ratings jumped 27% thanks to Trump's tantrum, proving once again that Trump is actually Kimmel's best promoter.
He's a blowhard and a snowflake. He's a blowflake is what he is. He should change the hats to say, "Make America Wine Again." I wonder what it was he found so objectionable. I don't know. Maybe it was the time I had Stormy Daniels look at a plate of carrots and to size them up, and she picked a little. You think of all the people I regularly make fun of, it's a lot of people. The only two who've tried to stop me are Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who actually called the cops on me.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Can you imagine what happens when a late night comedian makes a tiny joke about the former president's bathroom habits? Apparently it triggers the political equivalent of a toddler's meltdown in a toy store. So here's what went down. Jimmy Kimmel made this super minor joke about Trump needing to add some vegetables to his McDonald's heavy diet. Nothing major, just a little jab about the guy's fast food obsession possibly causing some plumbing issues. The audience barely even gave it a courtesy chuckle, but somehow this harmless joke about Trump's lack of fiber hit a nerve that years of Kimmel's much harsher material never could.
The article says news of these calls spread around the corridors of power in Washington. Wow, what a plot twist. Wants somebody to stop talking about him. He pays them $130,000, but he wanted me to do it for nothing. I wonder what it was specifically. Maybe it was one of the nicknames I was going through, like Tanny Soprano, Nostradamus.
Instead of brushing it off like a normal human being with actual problems to worry about, Trump decided this joke deserved center stage at his political rally in Wichita. Imagine showing up to hear about immigration policy or economic plans, and instead you get a 45-minute tantrum about a late-night TV host. The orange turd literally abandoned his prepared remarks to focus entirely on avenging his wounded pride. Picture this scene. Trump supporters standing there confused, looking at each other like, did we miss something? They came for solutions to America's problems, but instead got treated to their hero, doing his best impression of a middle schooler who just got roasted in the cafeteria. The rally turned into this bizarre Trump versus Kimmel wrestling match that nobody asked for. The best part? Trump went all in with his meltdown. He started mimicking Kimmel in this weird, mocking voice while calling him unfunny garbage, whose show should be canceled. Classic projection from the former reality TV host who can't stop obsessing over ratings.
I had like 80 texts when I woke up sending me this article from Rolling Stone. It says, Trump White House pressured Disney to censor Jimmy Kimmel. Now,
You can't have censorship. You can't pick one person and say, well, we don't like what he's been saying, he's out.
It's very interesting, isn't it? It's almost like he's from the Trump White House to, quote, convey the president's anger regarding Kimmel's monologues and jabs. In other words, President Karen demanded to speak to my manager.
Trump even bragged about how network executives were supposedly begging him to appear on their shows, claiming, they all call me. They say, sir, please come on our show. We need the rating, but I say no, thank you, because that's totally a thing that's happening. The former commander-in-chief couldn't resist throwing in that Kimmel couldn't fill a high school auditorium. as if the comedian was running for office instead of, hosting a late night talk show from a studio. This is the same guy who once stared directly at a solar eclipse, now focusing all his brainpower on destroying a comedian who suggested he eat a vegetable. The crowd eventually caught on to what their leader wanted and started chanting, "Cancel Kimmel," while Trump nodded along like a proud dad whose kid just learned to ride a bike. Meanwhile, every serious policy issue they came to hear about was completely forgotten.
Why Donald and Melania sleep in separate bedrooms. She was laughing too hard at my monologue at night. But really, joking aside, but if I point out that he's so fat they renamed the plane Air Force Wonder Bread, I'm the bad guy all of a sudden? All he does is he makes fun of disabled journalists, he calls our veterans prisoners of war.
Who needs talk about inflation when we can try to cancel ABC's late night lineup? But here's where it gets even better. While Trump was having his epic meltdown, Kimmel was sitting back like the cat who got the cream. Instead of getting defensive or angry, he leaned into the situation with the confidence of someone who just won the lottery. On his show, he casually announced, "I've been living rent-free in a certain ex-president's brain," while sipping coffee with this hilariously relaxed demeanor. Kimmel basically turned this whole situation into comedy gold. He even thanked Trump for the publicity, saying, "Mr. Trump, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the publicity. My only regret is that my advertisers are getting way more than they paid for this week." Pure savage response from a guy who clearly knows how to handle a bully. To add insult to injury, Kimmel introduced this brilliant new segment called the Trump Tantrum Tracker that humorously measured Trump's rage level. He informed his audience they were currently at nuclear orange on the tantrum scale. Just imagine being a former president and becoming a running joke because you couldn't handle a mild dig about your diet.
I wonder if Fox News, they're always screaming about censoring comedians. Will they defend me on this? I doubt it. We have a First Amendment right.
Today, I'm directing my administration to explore all regulatory and legislative solutions to protect free speech.
Someone who claims to be the bigliest anti-censorship defender of free speech.
What makes this whole saga so deliciously absurd is the complete disproportionality of it all. A throwaway joke about Trump's fast food habits somehow warranted abandoning an entire political platform at a major rally. It's like watching someone bring a nuclear weapon to a pillow fight. So it turns out the real kicker in all this wasn't just Trump's tantrum. His entire campaign got derailed by his bruised ego. According to campaign staffers, they had major policy announcements planned, but couldn't get their boss to focus on anything besides a comedian who hurt his feelings. Imagine that. A presidential campaign completely thrown off course because someone made a joke about the orange turd's diet. This is what happens when you elect a reality TV star who cares more about his ratings than running a country. While his supporters showed up hoping to hear about immigration or the economy, they instead got front row seats to a grown man's meltdown over late night comedy. And this is the same guy who wants control over America's nuclear arsenal again. The fact that a Happy Meal joke can send him spiraling should terrify every single one of us. Sweet dreams, voters.